tell people to silence their phones.
Okay. As you come in, if you want to silence your phones, so she'll be with us up here. Yeah, y'all can go. Honey, you come this way.
Called me on the way over when I was driving, so I'm driving.
Good morning. General.
All right, there you are. Good. All right. Everybody ready? All right. You ready, sir? Okay. Good morning. I'm Janice Gilley, Escambia County Administrator, Escambia County, Florida. With me this morning, I have Sheriff David Morgan, Mayor Grover Robinson, Escambia County Public Safety Director Jason Rogers, Emergency Manager Eric Gilmore, Commissioner Robert Bender, Commissioner Lumen May. We have Department of Health Director Marie Mott, our Building Services Director Tim Tolbert. We also have Gulf Power President Marlene Santos, and we have Executive Director Bruce Woody, and we also have Pensacola Area Chamber of Commerce Executive Director Todd Thompson. Again, we'd like to continue to express our heartfelt sympathy for all of those of you that have continued to experience damage and loss. And so we are thinking of you, and our employees and all of these partners are working 24/7 to try and do as much as they can in terms of repair, response, and recovery on your behalf. We are continuing to closely work with all of our federal and state partners. As we had yesterday, we had a very large contingency of dignitaries come through, express their support for us. It included the governor, the United States Senator Rick Scott, the Florida Department of Emergency Management Director Jared Moskowitz, the Secretary of the Department, Terry Thibault. We also had Congressman Matt Gaetz, and we had the CFO Jimmy Petronas and the Attorney General Ashley Moody. So we have had a considerable amount of support from our state and federal partners. We have been reported to us that not only the governor, but the Secretary of Department of Emergency Management, the United States Senators Rubio and Scott, and then also Congressman Gaetz have all had communications with the White House on our situation and what is going on here in Escambia County. So I just want to make sure that everyone is aware that everyone is working to pull forward to try and assist our community. Operationally, we are still working specifically in the life safety of our public, trying to make sure that their health, life, and safety is taken care of. Also, our first responders, as I'm sure you can imagine, a lot of people have not had the opportunity to go home for several days. They are still working, and we are trying to make sure that we ensure that we're here to continue to respond to you, but we also have to take care of everyone's health and safety and make sure that we aren't having fatigue set in for our first responders. The protection of the environment and also property is also one of our key operational programs that we're working on now. And we are continuing to handle our recovery and response, and you'll hear more about that from Jason Rogers. We are also supporting and maintaining our shelters. As you know, we'll be able to give you some numbers on those, but we still have 2 shelters that are open. I do want to give another continued warning to our residents and our citizens. Please, please, please do not be on the roads if it's not an emergency and you don't have to. We have had a couple of accidents at intersections due to the fact that, obviously there are still outages with our traffic signals, and people just sometimes don't follow the 4-way stop rules. And so we have had those particular accidents, and we are asking everyone to please be careful and be very vigilant whenever you come to those intersections. Pensacola, we are continuing to do our assessments of damage. As a county, we have done some preliminary damage estimates. We're up to about $21 million in county infrastructure. Particularly at the beach, our coastal engineering consultants have guesstimated that we are at about 500,000 cubic yards of sand loss, which is about an $8 million estimate. So we are looking at some large numbers on Pensacola Beach in terms of sand loss. I would like to mention too, our numbers on our county facilities are a preliminary estimate. We will have professionals that are continuing to help us with scope of work, but the $21 million that we're talking about are specifically related to our roads, ponds, drainage, and facilities. We are asking that all of our county emergency critical personnel report to work. Your supervisors and your department directors will be in touch, making sure that you know where your assignments are. We know that folks have had issues with communication, whether it be through internet or electricity, but we are reaching out to all those employees to make sure they are engaged. Jason can talk a little bit more about this, but we have had the USART teams out, the urban search and rescue teams out in looking in all those neighborhoods that are continuing to be flooded. The price report, we do want to ask you to report price gouging. Unfortunately, that is something that our citizens have to continue to look out for as we go through this event. Please call the price gouging hotline at 1-866-9-NO-SCAM. Or you can visit the myfloridalegal.com if you want to find other consumer tips on those complaints. Please, we're reminding the public, please do not call 911 unless it is a life-threatening emergency or you continue to have down power lines. Those are down power lines. If you have other respective utility issues, please call those respective utilities. Our Citizens Information Line is still available 24 hours a day. That is 850-471-6600. You may also call 211, which is with United Way, and they will be able to help you with community resources for clothing, medical prescription, and financial assistance. If you do have internet and other smartphone capabilities, please continue to follow us on myescambia.com, the Storm Center, and follow us on the Be Ready Facebook and Twitters. Now I'd like to ask Jason Rogers, our Public Safety Director, to come forward and give some comments.
Thank you. Rescue operations continue with a more methodical door-to-door search today. Hasty searches, including helicopter and boat teams, have been completed already. No airlift rescues have been conducted in Escambia County. EMS has responded to 3 specific car accidents with injuries at intersections without lights. Please use extreme caution if you must go out, and we are encouraging the community not to go out on the roads if you do not have to. We want to reiterate that information about treating intersections as 4-way stops, just for your safety. Communications continue to prioritize the most emergent 911 calls, so there will be wait times. All others should be using the Citizen Information Line. That Citizen Information Line can be used for animal needs as well as human needs. Also, we are standing up a volunteer reception center for those non-government agencies and organizations in disaster, and they should be using the Citizen Information Line as well at 850-471-6600 to register what they are bringing into the community so we can make sure that they are going to the appropriate resources. Shelters currently have less than 300 people in them, and that number is fluctuating as some are coming in for feeding and then not staying in the shelter. I now want to hand the mic over to Eric Gilmore, the emergency manager.
Good morning, Eric Gilmore, Escambia County Emergency Manager. As of right now, state had some logistical issues getting our pods in. We had flooding on Interstate 10. This river has crested and is going down. So later today, you're going to see movement on pods. We hope to get those established throughout the day. The National Guard has our sites that they're prepping for. We should see the guys out there at the prep sites. We're going to tell you where the sites are. We'll release that later today where the sites will be. But movement has been happening on that. So we're happy to announce that. And we'll get that going as quick as possible. So just a little state logistical issues there. As far as weather, we're going to have light to variable rain coming in tonight. So those of you with open homes, please protect your infrastructure the best you can if you have the means to do so right now. We are going to have a cool front come down, so we will have some seasonal weather, so it won't be hot and we won't have the high humid values. So, but please be careful as you do those things. We know there's a lot of people out doing cutting. We hear saws running. There's quite a bit of burning going on. Please be careful as you do those activities out. As you're doing burnings, make sure you're attending the fires. Make sure you have water in your area. Some areas still have water challenges, so please make sure you have taken all precautions and safety measures to do those activities. Now I'd like to turn it over to Sheriff David Morgan.
Good morning, everyone. A couple of issues. Spoke with Chief Leiter before the press conference. The city's experiencing this very same problem, and that's we're turning into the gas pump police. We're having people getting there, not wanting to get in line or cutting in line. Understand something, folks. You've got to get in line and queue up. We talked this morning here in the EOC about what day we're in, and even here everyone's tempers are getting a little short and information is not being passed on, etc. So we're asking the community again, you've got to use a little common sense here, folks. I realize that's not an issue item. If I could issue common sense to everyone, I wouldn't have a problem. But you've got to kind of take a step back from this and say, look, my situation's as bad as everybody else's, and so don't end up making your situation worse by getting arrested at a gas pump because you decided you were going to cut in line to save 15 minutes. When you leave your home and you're going out to get fuel for your car, just kind of grit your teeth and understand you're going to be gone for several hours. That's the nature of this beast until we work through this. For those of you that are not heeding our requests and warnings to not go to the areas of devastation, whether it's Pensacola Beach or out at Perdido Key, you are holding up the trucks that are getting out there to do cleanup, restore power, and do those things to bring our infrastructure back. At Pensacola Beach the other day, it got so bad the deputies were frustrated because they couldn't get the power trucks on the beach to start working on the power lines, which would allow ECUA to do their job. So if you're out looking at damage and devastation, you are part of our problem right now. Stay at home unless you're out getting food or gas for your generators and your vehicles. Stay at home. Do not leave unless it is an emergency situation. And in that case, call us. All of our ambulances and those sorts of things are up and running. We can come to you. Those of you that have family members, and this is my last item, calls last night were starting to spike on people. I guess those that didn't heed the warning from low-lying areas through a hurricane party. Well, we're in day 3. You've probably sobered up at this point, and you've decided this was a real bad mistake, to hang in there. And so now you're trapped at a place where you have no utilities, etc. As Chief Simmons said the other day, you found that the second floor is not a great place to hang out for the next week because you have no power. Call your relatives and let them know that you are okay. Last night we were spiking on especially calls to elderly homes. I haven't heard from mom and dad in 2 or 3 days. Our frustration is our phone system, due to our power problems, are not working accurately. Sometimes we can text, but we can't make a call, or the call goes through and then it drops. So we're spinning a lot of difficult plates here at the county level trying to respond to the needs of our community, and we need your help. We need your help to please follow these directions. If you can look, upon your neighbor and make sure they're okay, that saves us a call. And then you can let everybody know. And trust me, the grapevine will pick that up. We cannot cover the entire basis here. There's not enough of us to do that. So Escambia County, step up to the plate. We know what you can do in an emergency situation. You need to do it now. We're only in day 3, and now we've got other weather systems bearing down on us that we're watching very closely. So again, prepare now. Make sure that we can get as stable as possible for possibly an upcoming storm. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioner Robert Bender. I'd like to talk about 2 things today. One is about the curfew and staying off the roads, as we've already asked by emergency management and the sheriff. Last night on my way home, I wanted to drive through some neighborhoods to see how people were doing. It was a little bit after dark. And before I realized that I had caution tape across my car that someone had strung up to tell me that there was a tree across the road. When it was dark, you can't see that. We still have a lot of trees and power lines across the road. I just asked Gulf Power, as power comes back on, some of these lines that you may have been driving across, which we tell you not to do, could become live. And so you see that cars have gone across these lines. You want to do the same thing. Well, now it's a live wire. So please heed the warnings from us, from our sheriff, from our emergency management. Stay at home unless you have to go out for food, gas, water. We are still recovering. We are still getting everything clear. The second thing I'd like to talk about is the Bob Sykes Bridge. We have continued to have engineers out there today. We do feel that 2-axle vehicles can get across. If you have a heavier vehicle or a box truck, if you can put that in a trailer to help distribute the weight, that is the best for us, as we are having to space vehicles out so that we don't cause more damage. For heavier vehicles, we are working on a staging location where we can escort you. We will close the bridge, space you out, and have you slow down to get across the bridge. We will be giving this information out as it becomes available to us, but that is what we're working on right now. Those vehicles, we are looking for emergency response vehicles, power trucks, ECUA, trucks that are delivering food and propane are some of the things that we would be looking, or hurricane remediation are the types of trucks that would be allowed to do this. And now I'd like to turn it over to Florida Department of Health, Escambia County Health Officer and Administrator Marie Mott.
Go ahead. I think
Marie Mott, Florida Department of Health in Escambia County. Common health risks associated after a storm like this include food, water, injuries, and generators. Please make sure that you discard any food that hasn't been kept refrigerated below 40 degrees Fahrenheit for any period of time, and any food that's come into contact with flood or storm waters. Contaminated water can also be a problem if you are on a well or on a boil water notice. Do not use any water from those sources to wash dishes, brush your teeth, wash, or prepare food. You can decontaminate water from a tap or from a private well by boiling it at a rolling boil for at least 1 minute, by adding 8 drops of household chlorine bleach to each gallon of water, or by using a safe source of bottled water. Injuries and wound exposure can also lead to illness, and some of that can be preventable. If you are injured while working after the storm, please administer first aid and seek immediate medical attention. Also, if you have an open wound that's come into contact with flood or storm water, you would like to do the same. Issue immediate first aid and seek medical attention. Generators release carbon monoxide gas, which can be fatal, and the gas cannot be seen or smelled. So it is important to not run a generator in an enclosed space, and to keep generators running outside at least 20 feet away from any open doors or windows. And I'm going to turn the podium over to Mayor Grover Robinson. Thank you.
Thank you. Grover Robinson, Mayor of the City of Pensacola. Happy to be with you today. I think there's obviously been a lot of talk about some of the challenges we've had with some there. I want to talk also about some of the things that we see that are behaviors from people in Escambia County and the City of Pensacola that we need to that we need to emulate and move forward. I want to thank Hancock Whitney and other businesses out there that are providing ice, that are providing gasoline. Ice is going on right now on airport, the Hancock Whitney location. I know they had gas earlier today. These are companies that are freely giving things to people in our community. There are many other businesses out there that are doing the same. I did have a chance on the drive over here to talk to Blue Angel Ice, the Twice as Ice company. They are ready to begin making ice and offering it for free. Their challenge is, I want to get them together with ECUA. That's what they needed to do to figure out what they were doing with the boil water notice. So they only know, so they can figure out which places they have ice machines that they can do this. Obviously, not all of them can. But this is the spirit of generosity that we're seeing. I've seen many of you out there helping your neighbors and doing other things. That's what we continue to want to do and emulate. And I think what I want to say here is just continue to have patience. We are working through things that we don't have. I don't have power. I understand the challenges that you're going through. But at this point, we ask for your patience as we work through this. You have 800 men and women from the City of Pensacola that are working diligently to get services back on for you. Many of those individuals don't have power. They haven't gone back to clean up their own yards, but they are working here to take care of you. The county has over 3,000 people working hard for you that are here. They haven't had a chance to go to their own yards. So please understand, we are working very diligently to get there. We're 72 hours in. And there's some things that we don't have. I don't have power. But I will tell you one thing we do have that has been nice too, and I want to again thank ECUA. At least we've got water compared to some other times that we've worked with. But I can tell you this much: we also was able to cook something and have a hot shower because we got Pensacola Energy. I will tell you, they have made all the repairs. There were approximately 30 calls for emergency service that they have finished. They are still doing some orders for hurricane damage, but for the most part, Pensacola Energy is up and running, and your gas is there. So if you have gas, you're able to take hopefully a warm shower, hopefully cook some stuff on your gas grill. So we are up and running. From what Don says, if you have a challenge, if you smell gas or something happens, please call 811. 811 is if you have a gas emergency, you smell something. For the most part, I'm told we are done responding to emergency calls, and we are now in the process of cleaning up. I also want to let you know that currently there are search and relief operations are happening from the Pensacola International Airport. However, we are in hopes that general aviation could open by this afternoon. I know on the right way over here, Matt Coughlin told me he was optimistic about some meetings he was having with FAA and other parts of other agencies to be able to get the airport open. So we're not open yet. We're hoping today. We're shooting for it. Again, this is only 72 hours within a major event, and we're looking to have the international airport back open. I do want to talk to you about debris removal. We have over 250 trees down that were across roads in various places. We have 82 roads that are continued to be blocked. We are working today with contractors that we've put out there, and they are working to get things picked up at this particular time and get the roads cleared. They will simply clear the roads, put the debris on the side of the road, and they will keep moving. Their job is to get all of our roads open. I know many of you in East Hill I've communicated with that are having challenges with that. We are working on that for some of our old growth trees, other neighborhoods as well, having those same challenges. So we understand and we know, and we're out there working it. So we're going to get it done. I can tell you that your patience is certainly appreciated as we continue to move forward on that. Sanitation services, I want to tell you about what we're doing. Obviously, we feel like Gulf Power trucks, as well as the trucks that are clearing roads today, are much more important to getting them out there. So we will not be doing sanitation services until Monday. However, beginning Monday, we will be doing two different things. If you're in the city of Pensacola and you have a black garbage can, we will have Monday and Tuesday pickup for garbage only will happen on September 21st, Monday. For Tuesday, your garbage only, if you have a Wednesday and Thursday pickup, will be happening. So again, and then Wednesday, we'll come back and do Monday, Tuesday routes for garbage pickup only. And on Thursday, we'll do Wednesday, Thursday routes for garbage pickup only. So we will get you twice for garbage next week. So we will have that. If you're on a Monday, Tuesday route, you will be Monday and Wednesday next week. If you're on a Tuesday, Thursday, you will be Tuesday and Thursday. So again, we will have garbage service out there to you next week once we have things back open and know the roads are passable. City offices will remain closed today. City offices are scheduled to be reopened on Monday, September 21st. You may check in, you may go to a different place than where you normally are, but we are expecting all city employees back to work and working. Continue to follow up with your directors, and they will be working with you and tell you what we need. But we will have everybody back to work on Monday. City offices will be closed, and then city community centers will reopen for mask and feeding distributions on Monday, September 21st, provided power has been restored to the facilities, which I think most of them are getting. There are some exceptions that are being utilized right now for power staging. Fricker Resource Center and Vickery Community Center will remain closed until further notice. Those are, I believe, being used right now to house individuals who are dealing with electricity crews. And then finally, parks, the city parks at this time are remaining closed until deemed safe to come in for the aftermath. We have several local crews that we've engaged for the first 72 hours. That obviously ends today, but they've been in various parks cleaning up and taking down trees that have fallen and cutting them up. When it is safe, we will reopen all of our parks, but at this particular time, Parks and Rec is saying that they are closing parks until they've had a chance to go through and make sure that all of them are clean. So at this time, again, thank you for your patience. We are continuing to work hard. You have a lot of men and women that are working for you, and we are going to get this cleaned up. So if I now turn it over to Tim Tolbert. So Tim Tolbert's going to come in.
Good morning. Currently, Building Services has ongoing damage assessment, around 60% complete. We've found 224 minor damaged structures, 89 with major damage, 9 with that are destroyed. Electrical services. If your electrical service has been submerged, we recommend that not be energized. Again, we don't want you to energize electrical services that have been submerged. Also, we want to remind everyone that hire Florida licensed contractors. You can check those licenses at myfloridalicense.com. You can call Building Services at 850-595-3550 and check that. We will be open this weekend from 8 o'clock to 4:30. And again, that's at 3363 West Park Place, Pensacola. Licensed contractors that need to go to Pensacola Beach, you'll need a sticker issued by us, the Building Services Department, to get on the beach. And we will be open again this weekend, 8 o'clock to 4:30. Thank you. Who's next?
Marlene DeSantis, yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Good morning, and thank you so much for the opportunity to provide you this very important update. We remain committed to provide all of our customers power safely and as quickly as possible, and I please urge all of our customers to have safety as their main focus. I'd like to first give you an update on our restoration. Our team continued to work through the night, and they actually have restored power to 50% of the customers that lost powers as a result of. At this time, we have already restored service to more than 155,000 customers, and we currently have less than 130,000 customers without power, and most of them are in Escambia and Santa Rosa counties. As I've mentioned before, we have a workforce of 7,000 employees committed to this effort. We have opened up 12 staging sites. We have made really good progress in our restoration. We already have all of our substations powered up except for one that only serves one customer, and that one will be done today. We expect to have restored our critical infrastructure customers, most of them by the end of today. So a lot of all those things that need to happen sort of at the beginning of restoration are happening, so we're pleased with that. I know that estimated times of restoration are the key thing that our customers are asking us about, so let me give you an update regarding that. Yesterday I told you about how we were out not only restoring power but also assessing our facilities so that we could provide you with good, accurate as we can information on that. So with that, while many customers will be restored before this date, we expect that 95% of our customers that can receive power will be restored by the end of the day, Tuesday, September 22nd. In addition to that, we know how important it is for you to have information, more detailed information to plan your lives. So on Saturday night, we will be able to provide you more details about your restoration. So we'll be able to tell customers, who will be restored on Sunday, who will be restored on Monday, and who will be restored on Tuesday. So on Saturday night, we'll have that more detailed information, and we'll use our regular channels to provide that detail. So let me talk to you about our storm crews. The majority of our storm crews are in Escambia and Santa Rosa counties, and they're working day and night, as I've said before. And so even if you don't see one of our crews in your neighborhood, know that we're out there. We may be working on a facility that is farther away, but that impacts your home or business. So, just please be aware of that. Our customers are asking us how they can help. You've heard about the issues of traffic, so please, anything that you can do to stay off the roads, please do not talk to our crews and ask them about, restoration. So that we really need them focused on getting the power back on. And also, at this time, we know that your power is out, so there's really no need to call unless you have a down power line, as I've said before. So just know that we're here, we're working 24/7, and we will provide you with more information as we learn it. So thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is Bruce Woody. I'm the Executive Director of the ECUA. My most important message this morning is on the topic of water conservation. While we're doing an excellent job in bringing on water wells, providing increased pressures throughout the system, remember we provide two services, not only water distribution, but also wastewater services. While the water supply system is greatly improved in its service delivery, our challenges are on the sanitation side. All three treatment plants are up and running, two on utility power, one still on generator power, but we have a vast number of lift stations throughout our system, close to 400 altogether. About 250 of those are still without power, so our staff, together with some help from contractors, are providing service to all those stations in manual mode. We're going from station to station to station, operating, pumping them down, adding generator power for a brief period of time, then going on to other stations. We've been maintaining that quite well to date, but as people are getting out and about, getting power back, consumption going up, our waste load to those stations is increasing, which makes that a challenge. I very much appreciate Gulf Power's assistance and the dedication to getting power back to the entire community. That certainly will assist us throughout our system, getting our lift stations back on. But during this transition period, in addition to staying off the road so utility workers can do their work in the right of way, an additional thing you can do to help all of us is conserve water. Despite it being available, please consider just conserving water. Related to that topic, I would like to say that our phones continue to be a challenge as well. The normal customer service lines that you're used to calling are currently still down. Our utility provider for that service is working hard to do that, but until Cox is able to restore that service, if you have particular calls for service, the best number continues to be the Citizen Information Line, which is 850-471-6600. Back on the general topic of condition of our system, we have 18 wells that are currently operational. Another 3, pending some generator power, will be back on later on this afternoon. Right now, Pensacola Beach does have full water service. Wastewater, I mentioned a moment ago, we have 250 lift stations without power, but we also have 150 that do have utility power and generators. The two large wastewater treatment plants, all three of them are in service. Utility power is providing power for the CWRF to the north, as well as Pensacola Beach. Our Bayou Marcus plant continues to be on generator power. Sanitation, as we mentioned yesterday, our priority is to be sure that our customers get caught up this week so we can get back on a regular schedule. So today, we're picking up what would normally be a Wednesday schedule. Tomorrow, that's Saturday, we'll be picking up what would normally be a Thursday and a Friday schedule. We're bringing in some extra resources to do that.
That's for a green can.
Yes, strictly the green can. We're only picking up trash, not recyclables, and we are talking about ECUA's service area. No recyclables, no yard waste at this time, only trash. Our materials recycling facility did suffer some damage. We have an early estimate of approximately a month to bring it back into service and make full repairs. We'll be giving you updates as that proceeds as well. On the general subject of our precautionary boil water notice, please know that it's still a system-wide notice at this point because we have hundreds of breaks throughout the system. Staff have done an exceptional job in isolating areas where we have major line breaks, as well as making repairs concurrently as well, but that's still an ongoing effort. As we transition out of a system-wide precautionary boil water notice, that's something we have to coordinate with the FDEP. There is a process by which we have to testing protocol we have to go through before we can release areas, and we're looking at doing that through large areas based on various priorities. That's conversations that are ongoing at present, and we need to get FDEP concurrence on that process. So please know that we are sensitive and aware that that is a priority for the community, and we're trying to expedite that as best we can. Again, best number for calling if you have concerns or needs for service is the Citizen Information Line, 850-471-6600. And again, my preliminary comment, please do what you can to conserve water, to help us provide sanitary sewer service until all the rest of our systems come fully online under utility power. Thank you very much. Next is Pensacola Area Chamber of Commerce Executive Director Todd Thompson.
Good morning, Todd Thompson, President and CEO of the Greater Pensacola Chamber of Commerce. Most of my comments will be about the fuel situation in our community. Got off a call this morning with State Emergency Management and the Florida Petroleum Marketers. We do not have a supply issue in our community right now. It is a distribution issue, which is based primarily on getting power back to these stations. Gulf Power has done a tremendous job getting some of those stations back online, and they continue to do work. But currently, we do not have any supply issues in our community. It's really just being able to get those stations open and available to the public. But I do want to reiterate what's been said a number of times. If you do not have to be on the roads, please do not be out driving. It impacts what Gulf Power is trying to do with getting service back to these gas stations and stores and homes. If you have a need, if you have to get food, if you have to get supplies, then please be careful while you're out. But if you don't have a need, if there's no need for you to be on the roads, please stay home. It's safest for our workers. It's that are clearing the roads, that are getting power back to us. I just cannot emphasize that enough. So if you have a need, understandable. But if you're just wanting to be out or just cabin fever, understand it's frustrating. But please work with us. It's the best way to get power back to all of us quickly. So thank you for your time, and look forward to future updates.
First of all, I want to thank our law enforcement, thank all of our city and county workers. Many are who spend the night. They're staying and doing a great job. But I also want to remind citizens that we are under a pandemic. We are still suffering from a virus. And so to continue to practice the Center for Disease Control and wearing your mask and spacing and social distancing is still important, because as we come out of this hurricane, we will still probably be in this pandemic, and we want citizens to come out healthy. But let me also share my frustration. I want to first thank the churches. I was at Brownsville, and when citizens were running out of ice and running out of water, I want to thank our faith-based community for being partners when we could not have it. I do understand that we've been in a pandemic, and people are living without electricity, they're living without power. They were already with cabin fever and frustrated, and they continue to be frustrated. So the citizens of Wedgewood, Forest Creek, Brownsville, I share your frustration. And today, after this meeting, I'll be meeting with the administrator. We're calling on the state. Get us the supplies that we need. Our citizens deserve it. They've suffered for way too long. We need ice. We need water. We don't need it 72 hours. We need it today. And so those who are listening, the media that shares this information, there is a call, and there's a call out for help for the citizens of Escambia County. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner May. Thank you, Commissioner May. I appreciate that. I think as this storm has had so many different twists and turns to it, not only on the original path of the storm, but also I think, the things that we dealt with in the aftermath regarding the barges, things that broke apart, other bridges that have had damage that we've not necessarily seen in the past. One of the issues that we've had to deal with is our state logistics team has had an issue of getting those supplies to us because those interstate and other bridges to the east of us have continued to flood, which have created diversions, which have created some delays. So it has been extremely frustrating for us. I think, as Mr. Gilmore and others have said, though, we are the National Guard is out there today making sure that those pods are set up. We have every intention of having water, food, and tarps available at those pods as soon as they are safe. They're safe and they're fully supplied. So I think Marie mentioned the generators. I just wanted to state that one of the things that we've understood is that in Bay County there were 16 fatalities during Hurricane Michael. 7 of those were from carbon monoxide poisoning. Hurricane Laura. It was Hurricane Laura. However, it is a serious issue. So out of 16 fatalities, 7 were related to carbon monoxide. We've also mentioned to you to please be careful when you're using chainsaws. Those also can create a lot of injury and also fatalities whenever you're utilizing those. Make sure you know what you're doing when you're using those types of equipment. We've mentioned that the United Way is also taking up donations to support our community and any survivors that need any of those that have been damaged and impacted as we go forward. So at this time, we'll be happy to take questions.
Janice, one thing I wanted to mention. I did want to say, certainly I've gotten this from a lot of people in our community, and today is a high holy day for Rosh Hashanah. We have been communicated to several things about the curfew. We do have a curfew, but we will not interfere. We will know something better to give you at 3 o'clock and tell you, but one way or another, we are not going to interfere with your services tonight. We want you to feel, I know I've communicated with PC Wu, who's been talking with the temple up there on Spanish Trail, and I've been trying to get through my priest to the rabbi at Temple Bethel. But again, there's no plan to interrupt or do anything else with services. Those should be able to go forward tonight as best as your church has the ability to do so, or your synagogue has the ability to do so. We certainly understand and appreciate a religious service, and will allow those to happen one way or another tonight through that process. But we'll have a little bit more at 3 o'clock. But I did at least want to communicate that because I have received several calls from people about that, and I did want to say we're very sensitive to that, and we want you to be able to worship as you see fit. So we will amend our ordinance to work with you tonight.
Sheriff, you mentioned yesterday on Inter-Area points there are people still trapped. What's the situation out there now this morning?
It's progressing. We don't really have any people that are trapped right now. Our calls for service now are for people that, again, are needing standard services. They want to leave their home. They need to shelter for a short period of time and then move on either to family or friends. So we don't have any situations right now that we're aware of that are life-threatening, meaning I have to get out there right now and pick somebody up. These now are almost becoming health and welfare checks on people that, again, just haven't answered calls from family. And again, part of that's because they can't. They're finding out cell phones don't work except for texting. We're having some very strange cell phone effects right now, to say the least. Some calls will come through, some won't. Some you can only text to each other. Some one way. So it's if there's any voodoo involved in the technology area, I'll tell you that's what we're dealing with right now. It is bizarre what we're dealing with on our communications.
Do you have any reports of missing people?
So far, no. So again, we've come through this with flying colors as far as loss of life.
What's the theory in not telling us where the 8 sites are? Share this out with you. Why won't you tell us where the sites are now? Get it out to the public.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you clarify the acronym PODS?
Oh, it's a point of distribution. Yeah, it's a point of
distribution.
Yeah, it's a point of distribution. So the state has had us modify those sites, and so that's what's going on. There is an actual legal action that is required because you're not allowed to set up a point of distribution within sight of an open grocery store or something like that. So we've had to have some modifications this morning of some of the sites, but Eric can fill in the details.
Get that information as quick as we can. We've had some.
More time we have, the more time we can get.
No, and I understand that, but the problem is I keep getting kickback from state and logistical things. So when I think I have it set, it gets moved by state, or it gets moved here. So we're trying to, when I get the product on the ground, then I know I'm opening. That site is going to go. So product, as soon as I get National Guard at the site, we get what we first call a pod pack. So the pod pack comes in with forklifts, cones, generators, everything to support the site. When the pod pack hits the ground, I know we're 100%, the state's not changing or redirecting or any logistical goofiness is going on, then commodity will come in. So as soon as I get the pod packs open, the sites are going to go out, and then the commodity is, they said it'll be here today. Starting noon, we'll start seeing the food trucks, MRE trucks, and the water trucks coming in. We'll push those sites out, and then you'll know where they are at. So it's because of it's been changed several times, and I want to get it right the first time when I tell the public, this is where we're going to be. That's all it is, right? It's not hiding, it's not doing anything. I want to be accurate to the public. I don't want to, we have fuel shortages, or we're having a hard time getting fuel. I want to make sure that they get there in one spot, so.
There's no ice?
At this time, there's no ice. I have not been told there's ice in the commodity trucks. It's food and water right now that I know of.
Mayor, you're going to be able to get ice, right?
We've been working on ice ever since the beginning. I mean, we worked through Hancock Bank, but they're able to come from the west. We're working right now with Blue Angel Ice. They communicated with us. We're trying to get with ECUA to see if we can help them get at least to where we can get whatever we need, so we don't have boil issues at the site. So trying to get the two of them.
Will ice be available to county residents too?
Blue Angel Ice is definitely doing that, and certainly Whitney, Hancock Bank, Hancock Whitney is allowing people anywhere to come. So the distribution site is in the city, but people can come there, and I saw long lines there earlier today. We're working on that as much as we can. What people have asked me, what can I do? I say send ice. Continually, I say send ice.
Winn-Dixie also has.
Winn-Dixie apparently also has ice. So we are working on that wherever we can.
When do you think you're going to be able to get your roads cleared with the crews that you're bringing in?
We think today we'll be able to have most everything cleared. That's our goal, is today and tomorrow to have that done. So again, that's from the city's standpoint. Again, I can only speak to those operations.
Have the county hired crews yet to help with the road clearing?
So we have crews that are doing cut and toss, and they've been doing that since the storm. They're typically
Contractors or?
we have our county contractors, and then also Gulf Power had provided us with a couple of crews to go around and also help us. So they've been doing that, quite frankly, since the winds were around a little bit below 50 to 40 miles an hour. We got out there as soon as we could 2 days ago. Okay. Anyone else?
We've had calls about some of the lift stations like spewing out sewage. Has ECUA heard about that? Is that happening?
Obviously, anytime that we hear those reports or become aware of them ourselves, we address them as quickly as possible. If a citizen sees those and needs to share that information, again, 850-471-6600. Your eyes and ears will certainly help and assist us. But as we make our rounds and as consumption comes up and more of those come online, we continue to find breaks as well. Again, uprooted trees are the main culprit and source of damage that we're fighting, and some of those, until they get into higher use, don't show evidence of themselves. So appreciate any help and assistance at 850-471-6600.
Jim, I want to put a little something into perspective. I was here 16 years ago and remember what it was like going through Ivan. I still say one of the proudest things I ever voted on was the money that we gave to ECUA so they could move the sewage treatment plant. I mean, I think you heard them say the plant is able to work and it's able to function and it's doing the right thing. Obviously, its lift stations are a little bit of the challenge, but many of us have water in sewer today that we would not have had 16 years ago. And I think we've got to put that a little bit in perspective, is what we do have. I will say I appreciate the conservation notice. I'll take less of a shower than with my Pensacola Energy gas, but I think we'll all work on that. But we have so much more to be thankful for in this storm than we did last storm. And I think we all need to be thinking about that. If there are challenges with ECUA, please phone those in and they'll get to them and they will fix them. But all of us are working through this together, and we got to get this done. And we're going to get service to you. That's our main goal. All of us here are working together one way or another to make sure that we get services to you. And if there aren't, we're working with the state. I mean, even things as much as dealing with getting pumps at this particular time to deal with pumping down retention ponds. But again, those are things we're working with, and we ask you to continue to work with all of us as we get that through.
If I might, I'm not sure if this is for Janice or Eric, but in terms of the delays getting the supplies in, obviously there's the logistical stuff with the roads. Is there any component with FEMA paperwork that has caused a delay, paperwork not being filed, paperwork not being filled out, anything like that?
Yeah, that's what I
You're talking about
major
FEMA.
declaration, yeah.
Okay, so there's not a problem in terms of the pods, right? In terms of the state logistics piece, that's different. Escambia County is still waiting on a major declaration. What we have is we have what's called a Category B, which is for life, health, safety, those kind of necessities. Category A is when you can then start getting reimbursed for debris hauling and those things. And a major declaration is whenever you can basically be covered for the entire storm. We are diligently working, like we've said, with our federal partners and others to get that declaration all the way up to the White House. Like I said, the senators and the governor and the DEM emergency manager have all contacted them. One of the things that we've been told is that the FEMA assessment teams hit the ground and they are doing their assessments. As I've mentioned to you all before, we have our county damage assessment tool. They're using those, that data, those videos, that information to help us make that picture very clear for the federal partners that we've got to have this major declaration. We're talking a lot of money to provide the recovery and response that's needed, certainly more than the county probably has. And so that's why it's extremely important. So if the media can send a message, the message would be is we do need help from the federal government. We need that FEMA major declaration from the White House and the President.
If I may, yeah.
And I just want to say, we met with the FEMA representative yesterday. He was here. He said he had to be out today, but I believe he's back tomorrow. So he was here yesterday. We met with him. When we met with the governor, when we met with the senator, the congressman, we said we need that major declaration. That was the first thing we asked for from the governor yesterday, and that the president can sign it as well.
And Senator Scott.
And we asked Senator Scott, but they were here yesterday, and we were working with them. But we do need that declaration in order to get those fundings.
Prior to the storm, there was talk about the declaration had not been secured prior to the storm. Is this the same one we're talking about, or is that? And if it's not, then we don't. There was something about the declaration.
So I think what happened was that Florida had not been included in that original one. We did get that addressed beforehand, but that was to get us to the Category B.
Category B.
That was that pre-landfall Category B. To get the major declaration, to get the debris hauling and things like that is what we're still looking for.
And if the declaration is obtained, then is it retroactive to
Yes, it's storm
reimburse
event.
from the beginning?
Yes,
of
the whole
recovery?
storm, yes.
Okay, but that has, again, nothing, because I want to be clear, because apparently some information is floating around that may or not be accurate. You're saying that has nothing to do at all with the delay in delivery of the food and the water from the state? Two completely different issues.
I have an unfortunate announcement to make. It's a little bit off subject here, but we may have our first, Amber, could you pull it back up? We may have our first report of a death related to the storm. The U.S. Coast Guard is looking for a kayaker that went out the day of the storm. His name is Brandon William Nicholson. He's a white male, date of birth 10/1/92. And so the Coast Guard still has an effort going on for that. Unfortunately, that just came in. So we've been telling everyone how fortunate we are about not having any deaths. We may have our first hurricane-related death as a result of this.
All right. Well, again, thank you all for attending. We appreciate your diligence in getting the word out to all of our citizens about what we're trying to provide, and then also providing us with the opportunity to share that information with the public. So thank you all.
Yeah.